Hello again, everyone. It's me, Alex, your nerd to the core, and today I'm going to be talking to you about one of my oldest continuously built commander decks, and it's Hakeem Loreweaver or Mono Blue Auras. Now, you might be asking yourself, why would anyone build Mono Blue Auras? There are so many better Aura commanders that are green, that are white. Why Mono Blue? And the answer is because it makes me happy. There's something to be said for looking to do known things in Commander, whether that's a strategy or an archetype or anything, and do it just slightly differently. It's very easy to sit down at a table and play against a Tuvasa the Sunlit and know what you're going to be up against, to play against Lightpaws or SRAM and know what you're going to be doing. But when I sit down with Hakeem Loreweaver, people don't really know what they're in for, and that's kind of exciting for everyone. It's a deck I love. It's a deck I've had together for well over 8 years at this point. I don't play it as much as I should, and that's because I know it makes me happy, and I know I'm never going to take it apart, at least for the foreseeable future. But let's talk a little bit about this card, which is from Mirage. Now, it's, once again, not really good. For 3 blue, you have a legendary creature, Human Wizard, 2/4 with flying. And it has this really weird ability. I'm going to read what it says on the card, but then I'm going to tell you what it actually means. And so for blue, put target creature enchantment card from your graveyard on Hakeem Loreweaver. Treat that enchantment as though it were just played. Use this ability only during your upkeep and only if there are no enchantments on Hakeem. And then you can play blue and tap it to destroy all enchantments on Hakeem. So what that second ability, the activated ability, means is during my upkeep, as many times as I choose, I can play blue and then take an aura from my graveyard that can enchant Hakeem and put it onto Hakeem, because this ability only checks on activation, not on resolution. So we're building a Voltron deck. And if you know anything about Mono Blue, it's not really a Voltron color. If you know anything about Mono Blue, it's not really an enchantment color. But we're building Mono Blue Aura Voltron. And that means we really have to take some steps to kind of play around Hakeem, to kind of support him in many different ways. Now, the first way is by protecting Hakeem. And so that means we use cards like this: Vanishing, an enchantment from Visions, which is 1 blue for an aura, blue, enchanted creature phases out. As long as this is on your commander, it can be very, very difficult for anyone to remove it. We have Pemin's Aura, or I Am Superman, a reference to Morphling. For 1 blue for this aura from Scourge, untap enchanted creature for a blue. For a blue, enchanted creature gains flying until end of turn. For a blue, enchanted creature gains shroud until end of turn. Or for 1 colorless, enchanted creature gets +1, -1, or -1, +1 until end of turn. But what this is really about is that enchanted creature can't be the target of spells or ability this turn, or untapping it, because I can attack with Hakeem, and then use Pemin's Aura at the end of the last player's turn to kill all the auras on him by untapping him, and then using Hakeem's last ability, and then bringing all those auras back. Really neat thing about how Shroud interacts with auras. If an aura is brought onto the battlefield through something that brings them back from the graveyard, it can target a creature with a Shroud. It's not really targeting, it's just trying to snap onto a creature. It's this really interesting rules case that doesn't come up very often, but when it does, it can win you the game. We also have Curator's Ward from Dominaria. 2 in blue for an aura. Enchanted permanent has hexproof, and when enchanted permanent leaves the battlefield, if it was historic, draw 2 cards. Eel Umbra, which is an aura with flash from Rise of the Eldrazi for 1 in a blue. It has enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and has Umbra armor, which means that if enchanted creature would be destroyed, instead destroy this aura and remove it. Moving on to other cards, we have Slip Out the Back from Streets of New Capenna, an instant for 1 blue, put a +1/+1 counter on target creature, and then it phases out. Hakeem's usually going to have more than 4 powers, so we get to run Stubborn Denial, which is a blue instant from Khans of Tarkir. Counter target non-creature spell unless its controller pays 1. But if it's ferocious, that means you have a creature with power 4 or greater, you counter that spell instead. And then we have this card. From Weatherlight, it's Abjure. For a single blue, we have an instant that says sacrifice a blue permanent to counter target spell. This deck is full of blue permanents that I actually want to be in the graveyard because I want to bring them back with Hakim. So with Abjure out, I just have this great little counter spell that works with my game plan. Finally, we have Callaphe, Beloved of the Sea, a demigod from Theros Beyond Death for 1 blue. Its power is equal to your devotion to blue for a 0/3. Creatures and enchantments you control have spells your opponents cast that target this permanent cost 1 more to cast. Again, just another way to build in protection to your deck. Finally, the land. Hakim's a wizard. So Riptide Laboratory, a land from Onslaught, which can return target wizard you control to its owner's hand, just gives another way to protect Hakim. But the problem with Voltron decks is you only have one of your commander, you only have one thing, and in mono blue auras, you're really only going to have one creature that does the job. Thankfully, the past couple of years have been really, really kind to the deck. Starting with Original Theros, we have other cards like Triton Fortune Hunter for 2 and a blue, which has Heroic for a Merfolk Soldier, 2/2. Whenever you cast a spell that targets Triton Fortune Hunter, you draw a card. You have lots of creatures, more creatures now, that actually want you to enchant them, like Stormchaser Drake from Innistrad Crimson Vow. It's a 1 and a blue for a 2/1 flying Drake, and whenever it becomes the target of a spell you control, draw a card. From Lost Caverns of Ixalan, we have Malcolm Alluring Scoundrel. Now this one's great, because this one puts cards in your graveyard, but also can cast them for free anywhere's auras really well. 1 and a blue for a legendary creature Siren Pirate with Flash Flying. It's a 2/1, and whenever it deals combat damage to a player, put a chorus counter on it. Draw a card, then discard a card. If there are 4 or more chorus counters on Malcolm, you may pay the discarded card without paying its mana cost. Now, these are just the ones that really want you to put auras on them, or cast auras. But then we have a card like this. From Guild Pact, Infiltrator's Mage Mark. And I have a shiny copy, so I'm sorry if it's a little bit harder to see. Enchant creature. Creatures you control that are enchanted get +1/+1 and can't be blocked except by creatures with Defender. This deck is loaded with auras. You'll see in the link below when I give you the list, but putting this out means that if I have enough creatures out, I can swing in for lethal with a whole bunch of little dinky dorks. Now, how are we getting cards in the graveyard? Well, we have Attunement. 2 and a blue for an enchantment from Urza's Saga that says return to its owner's hand, draw 3 cards, then choose and discard 4 cards. You're going to have auras you want in the graveyard. You can do this whenever you want, instant speed. You have a bunch of enchantments like Rousing Reed from M21. Enchant creature, when it enters the battlefield, you draw 2 cards, then discard a card. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has flying. Now, the flying doesn't matter. Hakim has flying. A lot of the creatures in the deck have flying. But in this deck, draw 2, discard 1 is better than draw 2 a lot of the time because I want to put my expensive auras into the graveyard. Now, Hakim's designed to attack. And so because of that, we have a bunch of curiosity effects, including Curiosity. When an enchanted creature deals damage to an opponent, you may draw a card. Curious Obsession. Enchanted creature gets +1/+1 and has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you may draw a card at the beginning of your end step. If you didn't attack with a creature this turn, sacrifice Curious Obsession. Combat Research from Dominaria United. Enchanted creature has, whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, you draw a card, and as long as enchanted creature is legendary, it gets +1/+1 and has Ward 1. We have Curious Inquiry. Forgive me. It's an enchant creature. An enchanted creature gets +1/+1, and whenever this creature deals combat damage to a player, investigate. Make a clue. 4 different auras that let you draw cards when you connect, and Hakim is going to want to deal combat damage. It's going to want to connect. Now, we have protection. We have supplemental commanders, other creatures that we want to put auras on, and we have a way to draw cards. But what are we doing between that stage of getting the commander out and actually winning the game? Well, we have some tricky things we can do. First, we have this fun card from Magic Origins. We have Willbreaker. Whenever a creature an opponent control becomes the target of a spell or ability you control, gain control of that creature for as long as you control Willbreaker. Now, that wouldn't be so bad, except we have a couple auras that we can use over and over again. Shimmering Wings from Tempest. Enchanted creature gains flying, and pay blue, return Shimmering Wings to its owner's hand. With Willbreaker and Shimmering Wings out, that is gaining control of as many creatures as I have blue-blue. Volrath's Curse is also from Tempest. It's an enchant creature. An enchanted creature cannot attack, block, or pay any ability requiring an activation cost. That creature's controller may sacrifice a permanent to ignore this ability until the end of turn. And for 1 and a blue, you can return it to its owner's hand. It's great when this is in your graveyard and you bring it back with Hakim, and then you bring it back to your hand and play it on an opposing commander. Are they really going to want to sacrifice a permanent every time? Maybe, but you're gaining an advantage. What do we do when we want cards out of the graveyard? Well, River Kelpie from Shadowmoor will draw us more cards. When River Kelpie or another permanent card is put into play from a graveyard, including auras, you draw a card. And whenever a spell is played from a graveyard, cast from a graveyard, draw a card. It has Persist, but really it's that first one. Whenever you bring an aura back from your graveyard with Hakim, as long as River Kelpie is in play, it's a card. Illusory Gains is from Dragons of Tarkir. It's 3 blue for an enchant creature. You control enchanted creature. But whenever a creature enters the battlefield under an opponent's control, attach Illusory Gains to that creature. Listen, this is not a great card, but it creates a lot of fun on the board because no one wants to cast that last creature. Or people want to cast a flurry of creatures and give you something. But you're always going to end up with something, and it's always going to be the newest thing. We have Arcanum Wings, which is 1 and a blue for an enchantment aura. Enchanted creature has flying. I really don't care about giving creatures flying, but aura swap. 2 and a blue. Exchange this aura with an aura card in your hand. So I can swing in, and they don't know that I'm going to be drawing a card. They don't know they're going to be buffing my creature. All they know is that it has flying. We have another couple creatures from Tempest, which really play some tricks. We have Rootwater Shaman, which is a 2 and a blue for a 2/2. You may play creature enchantments whenever you could play an instant. In other words, or creature enchantments, or as that enchanted creature you control, have flash. We have another control effect, Rootwater Matriarch, 2 blue for a merfolk. Tap, gain control of target creature as long as that creature has any enchantments on it. Not just my enchantments, any enchantments. And here's one that I just put in because I think it's really cool that there's a counterspell creature that's enchantment. Fear of Impostors from Duskmourn is a 1 blue enchantment creature nightmare with flash. It's a 3/2, and when it enters, counter target spell, its opponent, its a controller, manifests dread. Really, there are ways to recur regular enchantments in this deck, and having a counterspell that you can just rebuy means so much. But how do you win the game? Well, you're a Voltron deck. You're going to be dealing commander damage. So a card like Helm of the Gods goes a long way. 1 for a legendary artifact equipment. Equipped creature gets +1/+1 for each enchantment you control. Has equip cost of 1. Auramancer's Guise from Planar Chaos is 2 blue for an aura. Enchanted creature gets +2/+2 for each aura attached to it and has vigilance. We have cards like Nerd Rage from the Follow Commander set. When it enters, you draw 2 cards. An enchanted creature has you have no maximum hand size, and whenever this creature attacks, if you have 10 or more cards in hand, it gets +10/+10 until end of turn. Now that's all well and good. But what if you want to be mean? You can bring back Corrupted Conscience and put it on your commander. For 3 blue, you control enchanted creature. Well, you control your commander already, but it has Infect. Listen, I'm not saying people are going to like it, but there is something to be said for bringing back a control magic and putting it on your own creature and then swinging in for lethal with just a 10 power Hakim Warweaver. And come on, it's a Voltron deck. You know Eldrazi conscriptions in here. 8 colorless for a Kindred enchantment Eldrazi Aura. Enchanted creature gets +10/+10, has Trample and Annihilator too. And that is how you win in my Hakim Warweaver deck. This deck brings me so much joy. It always brings a smile to my face, even when I'm losing. No one is expecting to be attacked with a giant flying wizard. Really, what you want to do with this deck is you want to bide your time and kind of just wait until a couple players have kind of beat up on each other and everyone's kind of waiting for the game to take that next turn. And then what you want to do is turn your creature sideways. You want to be ready to strike when everyone else is just a bit behind. So what's the moral of this one? It's okay to do things differently, as long as you're willing to put in the effort to try to make it work. This deck did not really work the way I wanted it to until I started putting in other creatures that could wear auras. Yes, it changed it from being so focused on Hakeem Loreweaver, but it made my experience that much better. So if you're building decks that are really based around the commander, take a look at it. What is it trying to do, and how can you build towards it, especially if you're doing something unique like Hakeem? Thanks again, and I hope you have fun at your next commander night. Have a good day.